And we're back now with more from Senator Schumer and former Vermont Governor Howard Dean. Governor Dean, let me just quote to you something that Peggy Noonan, she's going to be on our roundtable in just a minute, but she wrote in the Wall Street Journal, and I'm quoting now, and she's talking about the president. She says, "This is the problem of the world now. Big Mike, no message. If you have nothing to say, does it matter that you have endless venues in which to say it?" She said that the president has not only has nothing to say, he's actually become boring. How, as a Democrat, would you respond to that?
I think that's just silly. The fact of the matter is the United States is in much better position in terms of our foreign security than we have been in a long time. Osama bin Laden is dead. We have our troops out of Iraq. Our troops are coming out of Afghanistan. These are things that are important to the United States. Secondly, there's been 4 million new jobs added since Barack Obama took over the presidency. Now, there's been some loss in the public sector. So the Tea Party people ought to be happy. In fact, government is shrinking. I think we've made some real progress. We have 2 thoughtful, sensible justices on the Supreme Court, no more right-wing extreme people. We have a medical system, while it's more complex than I think it would have been desirable. Every person under 26 whose parents have health insurance now have health insurance. And in 2 years' time, assuming the court doesn't change this around, people are not going to be excluded from having insurance because they're sick. Real progress has been made both in terms of American security, in terms of bringing our troops home, in terms of making people more secure at home because of their health care. I think that's a pretty good record for President Obama to run on.
Let me ask you, Senator Schumer, just a straight political question. The backbone of the president's support, of course, the last time was African Americans. He still has the majority of African Americans now, overwhelmingly, according to most polls. But I noticed that the number of African American registered voters has dropped about 7% now, about 5% drop in Hispanic Americans registering to vote, and it's even larger drops in some of the key states like New Mexico, for example. Is the president in danger of losing some of his bedrock support, the core of his support? How does he get those people back?
No, I don't believe so. I think you'll see as large an African-American turnout, if not larger, than previously in the last election. The Hispanic turnout will be large, and the vote will be a greater margin for the president. It's now something like 3-1, and frankly, I don't see how Mitt Romney can win if it stays that way. He cannot win the states of Colorado and Nevada and New Mexico, and probably not Florida, which makes his electoral math impossible. So I think you're going to see the minority vote going strong. And then there's the women's vote, which you talked about before. Yeah. And I'd like to mention the Republican Party doesn't seem to care about women, not just on the issues like contraception, but on economic issues as well. We're going to bring to the,
let me interrupt you because we're getting close to being out of time here, and I do want to ask you about gay marriage. To both of you, what do you think? Should the president just go ahead and say that he's for it and get it over with, because Vice President Biden said today he's comfortable with it? Could I get just a yes or no from you, Senator?
Well, I think the bottom line is everyone knows that the president is more strongly for LGBT rights than the Republicans, and I think that it's not going to be even a contest in that community.